I think, or I'm observing that because of specifically chatbots, we are losing critical thinking.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I've got an uncle, he thinks he's the
Jesus.
coolest thing in the planet because he's got a Facebook page.
Oh, wow.
Only to discover he's got like 300 because every time he tries to log in,
He creates a
he
new
creates
one.
And specifically the Kenya Revenue Authority, that they give a directive.
Do you plan to go home anytime soon?
Do you know how much I love my country?
This is
but
why,
I'm also
because we
allowed
love
to
it.
criticize
This
it.
is crazy.
Yes.
Mabibi na mabwana, karibuni kwenye podcast ya It Depends, I guess. Jina langu ni Jackie, mwenzangu ni
Caroline.
na mwenzetu pale nyuma ni
DJ.
Yes, bonyeza vidude.
Bonyeza kidude.
Yeah.
And that is my Swahili for today.
Jambo.
You've really tried.
Have I?
You've
Thank
really
you.
tried.
Thank you.
My baby na mabwana. What about the kids?
Oh, na
Vijana na-
watoto vijana.
Yes.
Kila mtu.
Yeah.
Iga zote.
Yeah.
Iga is age.
I
Or is that Luo? Did they just speak in Luo?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, fine, we'll see.
For
ages.
those who don't know what you just said,
Yes.
yeah,
I said, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
welcome back to
it depends, I guess, podcast
Yes,
in
yes.
Swahili.
In Swahili.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Welcome,
karibu.
Yes, welcome.
Happy to see everybody.
Yes.
Yes. And for those watching, for those who are watching this podcast on YouTube
Yes.
or any other streaming platform, video
Yes.
platform, Jackie is wearing glasses.
I am
and
wearing
I must
sunglasses.
say it is at night.
Yes.
Sunglasses at
Indoors.
night. Indulge us what happened, why you have sunglasses.
This week's episode of Hepatitis.
Yes.
I now have hepatitis.
Oh my gosh. Oh no, but you have to say which hepatitis
Oh,
because
A.
you know there's one that has a lot of stigma, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Which
Yeah.
one is that one?
I think B.
B?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I guess I was vaccinated against B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But A,
Hepatitis A.
yes, I apparently ate some contaminated food somewhere
Yeah.
along the line in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, and I only figured out, well, I was sick last week. Yes, I was sick last week. And then towards the weekend, around Saturday, I was asking DJ, I'm like, do my eyes look yellowish? It's like, nah, looks all right. Sunday, I was like, no. Do my eyes look like yellowish? He's like, whoa, your eyes do look yellow.
Yeah.
So then, and that was Sunday evening. So we went to the pharmacy and they're like, yeah, no, maybe just go to the doctor tomorrow morning. So yesterday morning, went to the doctor, they did blood work. Then they called me today. And then, well, should I call out this doctor? Anyway, no, she was nice. But I don't know, maybe she was reading somewhere that hepatitis is, I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And so she called me, she's like, yeah, Miss Rayuai, because J in German is a Y.
Why? Yes.
She's like, so your test results are back. And she's like, okay, so you have hepatitis. I'm like, which one? And she's like, A. I'm like, okay, which one? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? She's like, well, you have to stay home. No, actually said she has to discuss with the specialist at the Hospital. That's the closest hospital to me. And like, yeah, then we'll call you back if we need to get to now pick you up to get you admitted. I was like,
So it's almost they wanted to put you in quarantine.
I have no
sort
clue.
of way.
So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, or she said, we have to talk to the doctor. So I'm like, oh, so do I leave and come to she said, no, stay home.
What?
You're very contagious. I was like, oh, okay. So then now, and I was just like joining a meeting. So I was just like, the person on the call is like, because I'm on mute, they're like,
Yeah.
looking at me because now my face is like, the fuck? So I hung up. And then I'm like, wait, they just told me I have hepatitis A, but she's like, stay home. I'm very contagious. So this other person is like busy Googling. She's like, wait, what? She's like, no, it should be fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, let me just wait for the doctor to call me back. So she calls me back and she's like, okay, so I spoke with the doctor, to the specialist. He said, yeah, no, you should just, she says, yeah, we don't need you to be admitted.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so what, like what? She's like, actually, he says the worst has passed because you were feeling unwell last week. She's like, he's like, yeah, that's the worst. And yeah, you're fine. Just don't kiss anyone. Like, that's about it. So I'm like, wait, so I can leave the house? She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not in a... I'm like, but you said you're very... She's like, yeah, if you maybe just don't kiss.
You want to mention the other things? PG-rated podcast.
Yeah, in a German accent. She's like, yeah. She's like, but you can have sex. That's perfectly fine. I'm like, okay. But I guess protected. She's like, no condom. It's fine. She's like, yeah. She's like, unless you want to have anal sex, then that one, yes, maybe use a condom or disinfect. I was like, okay. She's like, yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm like, okay. So what next? She's like, well, I'm off from today until Thursday.
Yeah.
She'll be fine. You'll be fine. And she's like, maybe just order in food, just rest. She's like, how are you feeling? I'm like, no, I'm all right. She's like, yeah, even when you came yesterday, you were fine. Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, the same lady who 10 minutes before was just like, no, stay home. You're very
We're gonna quarantine you.
Yeah, I was just like, what? So I was even like online. I'm like, am I going to be isolated? Like, what's happening? And I don't know, I don't know what it was that...
So when you sent us the message, for those who don't know, hepatitis A is spread through contaminated
food, yes.
Especially with poop.
Yes.
So if it's been hygienically prepared.
Yes.
So when you sent that, I went online to check the directives from the Swiss government.
Yeah.
And apparently they only get like 100 cases
a year,
which
one
is
of the
very
100.
little.
Yeah.
And you did mention the doctor sort of insisted there's no way you would have gotten it in Switzerland,
yes.
you know?
And I know specifically where I ate raw fish.
Because you ate a bowl of raw fish.
Yeah,
it was sushi bowl.
Yeah,
sort of,
like a sushi bowl.
Yeah.
And then it went downhill after that. Soon after, because since when you were with me, after I ate, it's like I was just like,
you were sick the next day completely.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So it was so funny how she's like, but I was like, no, I'll give you here the places I ate. This is the place I bought that thing where everything went left after I ate it.
Yeah.
Then she's like, okay, now they'll let the canton to the state health department know.
Yeah. That's the perfect thing. So if there's an outbreak of hepatitis, as it is, the doctors would have to inform the canton's health department that
then
there's
they can
an
start
outbreak.
Tracking.
They can start tracking, and also where you had
or
that
go to
food.
where I had the food.
Yeah. I guess that's the efficiency of Swiss government.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
But feel better.
The only reason I'm wearing sunglasses because my eyes look like I've been on drugs.
Yeah.
But I've not been. And the lights give me a headache. And I'm not allowed to take painkillers for the next week.
Oh, even because your liver cannot hepatitis virus affects your liver.
Affects your liver, and hepatitis A is they just tell you just drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
And power through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But your body has fought it without any.
Yeah, because I thought it was a stomach bug.
Yeah.
Yeah. So me, I was just busy just fighting it with drinking lots of water because I'm like, oh, this is a stomach bug. Yeah. So it turns out, and no alcohol for a while. Rest in peace.
We shall sip on your behalf as you get better.
Thank you. Yes. Well, how is your week? What is your aha?
I don't know if mine is an aha, but more of rolling my eyes at our good old Kenyan government and specifically the Kenya Revenue Authority. That they give a directive.
Do you plan to go home anytime soon?
Do you know how much I love my country?
This is
but
why,
I'm also allowed to criticize
This is crazy.
Yes. Why?
I worry.
Why?
Why? What do you worry about?
No, but you speak very freely.
Yes.
Yes.
about your country and its imperfections.
Oh,
we
yes.
discussed it. We fought for the right
Yes.
to
Yes.
have
Okay.
our
Yes.
voices to be able to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, post
I think-
dictator government.
But yeah, post our
Previous.
previous
Yeah.
government.
Yeah.
Are other Kenyans speaking this way?
Definitely.
Oh my God.
All right.
Even
Also, you are
online,
even-
online, yes.
Alright.
Yeah.
And we are at free. We have the freedom to
Freedom of
criticize
speech, yeah.
if something is not working right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that those are the joys of which we take for granted.
Yes.
That we have so much right of.
Yeah.
And
And I guess I always assume this is what they always told us when we're younger. The first people you see leaving the country is yes, they're going to pursue better education or more opportunities or
Yeah.
whatever, and bring back that knowledge.
Yeah.
Bring that knowledge back home, right?
Yeah.
Part of the knowledge is yes, acquiring it from different school systems, but also seeing how other countries are working or the things they're doing that you can bring back
Yeah.
home. So it also maybe sometimes is the value in kind of comparison in places where you see something is sort of nothing is 100% perfect in many
Yeah.
places, but you can see some things that are working and you're like, oh, that would be nice for us, right? Then I guess also the exposure to seeing that thing and how it works. Then when we see something happening back home that's like not congruent with
Yeah.
development, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Right? So ideally we should be able to call it out because we've seen different.
Yeah. And like in August, when the Gen Zs went on the streets to actually protest against the Finance Act that was about to get implemented, it was stopped in Parliament. Like people put their voices out and say, this is not serving the people, is not serving the country.
Yeah.
And the president had to throw it out. So that's the beauty
not
of
in vain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not in vain when we speak about it. But now going back to my point about the Kenya Revenue Authority.
Yes.
So they've decided that everybody, first of all, the devices that get imported, so phone devices, will be their IMEI numbers, which is like the hardware number of a phone, is uploaded to their revenue system. And then if you're a visitor going into Kenya, and now of a Kenyan, if you're a Kenyan citizen, if you're going back home, you also have to submit the IMEI number of your device. At first, there was a blanket for all. So
Everyone,
tourists and Kenyans and everybody visiting. But now they reversed and said, tourists are allowed to enter without declaring it. But now the part about this is that they are doing that to try and track as much as they can how much people are transacting with their mobile money so that they know who to come for
And tax more.
So imagine the government is like, I need to see even in your pocket inside
What's in there. Yeah.
and I'm going to compare with what you've declared. So it's for a person who has a lot of investments in Kenya, I still put money in my Kenyan bank accounts. I do a lot of transactions on M-Pesa.
Allegedly, you know, Kerry might watch this.
It's okay, come for me.
Allegedly.
No, but I pay bills. Like I have
Don't say it.
No, but that's normal bills. Like I'm paying internet in Kenya.
Okay.
You know, I'm paying maybe water. I'm paying so many things.
We're paying school fees.
We're paying school fees. You know, like yes, okay, yeah. So you're paying bills.
Yeah.
So there's we have to agree that the mobile money ecosystem is so efficient and works well. So it is easier to do that rather than try move money from here to, another bank account, have somebody withdraw. You're using this system. So they want to see how much you're transacting.
Yeah.
And to me, it feels very forced.
Yeah.
It's...
when I think about it, I don't mind if the government wants to tax or they're feeling like we have a population, we should be taxing 70%.
Yeah.
Right now, we feel like we're taxing 30%.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to figure out how to get to the 70%. Got it.
Yeah.
But even with this 30%, 90% of that money doesn't come back to serving public good.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like So if I'm somebody who's the 30%, fine, feeling like, oh yeah, other people should be taxed too. But then at the same time, I'll be like, even with the one I'm paying you,
Yeah.
it's not going to any public good. So then what is the point?
Why come for more?
For more, so that more of it is going into your pockets.
Yeah.
So I don't mind if I pay higher taxes, but we have security, basic things.
Yes.
People who go to school, finish your education, can get jobs. Just food, right? But people are paying taxes. There's a campaign every year for either there's famine somewhere, people are fundraising. You can't even feed the nation. So people they're paying taxes. They're paying for funerals because there's also funeral harambes. They're paying for medical because there's medical bills because people are sick and medical cover doesn't make sense and doesn't work. So your monthly, there's a harambe you're paying for. You're paying for not your kids' fees, but also supporting other people in your area because there's smart kids who their parents are not making money or whatever it is and can't afford. So you're also chipping in there.
Yeah.
Then you have to pay extra security because security is shit.
Yeah.
So you have to have extra security. And then now all the roads are not working. So in your community, you have to come together and tarmac that road because you're all using that road and the damage to your vehicles is. So it's like you're paying your taxes, but then there's all these other hidden taxes that you're paying on top of all of that. And then you want to come and find ways, let's add even more. For what? If you're taking away these burdens from people, then gladly they'll be like, okay, now I'm seeing education is great. Everyone can afford to go to school. All right. Oh, this is great. Everyone can afford, people are getting jobs.
Yeah.
Oh, there's roads, we have lighting.
And I also think they are targeting the wrong people.
Yeah.
They're targeting the wrong people in this way. Most of the people who probably are doing these transactions, either you're employed or you have a small business. And in most instances, the money is being taxed anyway. You have pay as you earn. You have probably somebody has a side hustle somewhere where they buy maybe some clothes and go resell or do this, do that. They're coming for the wrong people. I honestly don't understand, other than go for the big fish of the people who have, maybe that's what they're targeting, I don't know. But it feels like wasted effort.
Themselves in those are the big fish.
To me, it feels like very wasted effort, because if I'm going to Kenya and you want to see my IMEI number so that you can be able to track the M-Pesa transactions I'm making when I'm in the country, and you also want to see my bank account.
You go with a number that doesn't have M-Pesa on it. You go with the phone that doesn't have
M-Pesa on it. Or give them the main number of my kabambe. You know? Yes. Kabambe is the katururu.
The one that you don't have to charge the phone for a month.
Yes.
It's all good.
Yeah, they still
Bring
works.
back those phones.
Yes. But I could go on and on about there's just there's effort directed in the wrong places, if you ask me. I think they can do better in terms of tax collection. It's not coming for our small monies in our pocket, which we've already paid tax for. Okay. DJ, we've criticized Kenya enough.
On a high note, Young Thug is free. Yeah.
Young Thug is the one who was in...
Yeah, he was imprisoned. So...
But he pled guilty. So
But they didn't have enough to prosecute him. It's just the fault of the prosecution. They just didn't have their ducks in a row. And it ended up being...
Is this in the US? Sorry, I'm not up to date.
He's a rapper.
He's a rapper.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's his popular song? Lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, lifestyle. So he's out. That's my happy point.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, Slim Thug is good. Oh, don't you say that. Slim Thug
is
a rapper from Houston.
So there's the young Thug and Slim Thug.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Slim Thug is an old school rapper.
Yeah.
he was on a song with Beyonce.
Yeah.
And, oh boy, you're looking like you like what you see. I was Sling Thug and Bun B, Houston rappers.
Yeah.
Young Thug is a rapper, more new generation rapper from Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real gangster.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Fun fact, Slim Thug is my nephew's dad. What?
Cool.
All
Okay.
right. Young Thug is out. All right.
On to the topic of
Yes,
this
yes,
week.
yes.
Lead us there.
We're talking about AI.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
It is the buzzword, actually.
Is the buzzword. It is.
Actually, if you're not using AI in your corporate lingo or in your everyday life, or even your AI tools.
Even if the lady who's selling you vegetable doesn't mention AI, everyone's saying AI. Huh?
It's like when the blockchain and cryptocurrency was a big thing.
Yeah. What happened to NFTs?
I think
they just came and went.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a flash in the pan. All right, so talking about AI. Now, should I define AI? It's a long definition. Okay, so it refers to the field of computer science focused on creating machines and software that can perform tasks that would normally require human intelligence.
Yeah.
These tasks include things like understanding language, recognizing images, making decisions, solving problems. AI systems are designed to mimic or simulate aspects of human intelligence, aiming to perform certain functions autonomously. So examples of AI in everyday life are like your Siri, your Alexa, or let me not say the Google one, it will wake up. Or systems that recommend things to you, like how Spotify recommendations work, or Netflix, or chatbots, so ChatGPT, Gemini, all those are examples of AI. Now, just general question. Do you think, how do I phrase this? Do you think AI is beneficial or like net? Is it net beneficial or net? Oh, I don't want to say the word destructive. Net negative. Is it net beneficial or negative to our world?
To our world. As it is right now, it is for me net beneficial. Because for a person who uses a lot of AI tools on my day-to-day, like I can see my efficiency having improved, and I believe for most people it would be the case. Yes. So as it is right now, we don't know how far it's going to progress, because imagine we are in the infancy of AI.
Baby steps.
We are in the babies.
Like baby.
Yes, baby. And the match that we've managed, when did ChatGPT actually come out? When did I download ChatGPT? 2022 September.
Yeah.
And I think it was, it was by invite. Of course, there were other AI models that existed with machine learning. But within that age, like that's when ChatGPT became popularized. So we are talking about 2 years.
Yeah.
And
not even, just about 2 years,
Yes. And I can see, like I can tell you so many places that I use AI that to me I'm like, wow, how did I do all this work without AI? Yeah. What's your...
I don't know if I should even ask DJ.
Yeah.
Do you feel like AI is net beneficial or negative?
It's the greatest thing to happen to humankind. Since sliced bread, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
There's nothing, the whole setup we have here is thanks to that. There's this, we would have to go to college to do the things that we're doing in this room right now today. Without that, even watching full YouTube videos don't give you the information jot by jot the same way AI does.
Yeah.
I saw this guy who passed his university. He wrote this thesis using AI. I think it should all just, every student should use it, because I think that way of learning is gone. We are done with that. We need to find new ways of learning. Because of these sort of certain tools. There's no going back from this. This is it here.
Yeah. Maybe we might start by sort of breaking down, like, how do you use AI on a day-to-day? Like, what things do you use AI for?
Respond to emails, texts.
So do you have that integrated in your?
Yes.
Okay.
So it'll generate responses and
Yeah.
I'll pick the response I want.
Yeah.
I'll either change a word or two to make it seem like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's already learned.
It's already learned how I
your
talk
way,
to
how you
people,
talk.
what I
Yeah.
want to do. Like for my marketing job, it knows on a Monday, this is what he usually does. So it looks at the roster of who was working and then it tags those people for me. And it's awesome. It's unbelievable.
Is that a specific tool you
No,
have
no,
to
no,
buy?
no, no.
Yeah.
The regular one.
The
I
Chat
asked it
GPT?
what it knows about me. It told me what I do from a Monday to
So
Sunday.
you feed it. It
I
learns
feed
every
it
time you feed
information
it
and then it
learns, yeah.
chooses the memory. You know, when you type in something, it
Now
goes
says
into
memory
memory.
updated.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just builds up from that. I don't do anything different in my life. I'm the simplest person too.
Do you use before that? What? Because do you find that it replaced something? Were you using, let's say, Google search more, and now you just go to a chatbot first to look for information, etc.? Do you now just go there, or it just lives alongside Google search as well?
It lives alongside Google search.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Google search is a lot of information. If you ask Google search a question, you know, you've got thousands and millions of
Yeah.
websites
Yeah.
that will give you all sorts of different answers. We live in a society where, you know, facts don't really matter as much anymore.
Yeah.
A fact is what you say it is. So whatever comes up first on ChatGPT is what it is. Opposed to what Google gives you, and then it gives you different options
You have to
that might be true in someone else's eyes. So you are looking for just whatever this will give me. Yeah.
Like you sort of have an understanding that it's already picked the best.
It's
out
already
of the
picked the
thousands
best out of the thousands. Yeah.
Of search
Yeah.
results.
Yeah.
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 So it kills me doing that.
Yeah.
Imagine now Googling in 19, who were the first 100 people killed in the Second World War. You can get millions of answers. Yeah. It'll just pick 4 people's names that are most seen.
Yeah.
And give you the answer to that. I think there's no going back. It's the greatest thing to happen since sliced bread, hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah. That statement that facts are not facts anymore, I think worries me. That's where AI worries me a lot. So I think it's net beneficial or not net negative? Okay. So in terms of, let's say, just efficiency of doing things, beneficial. However, I think negative because I think or I'm observing that because of specifically chatbots, we are losing critical thinking.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So yes, Google gives you many results or whatever search engine you use, but you require some sort of critical thinking to be able to go like, oh, okay, all right, that's not what I'm looking for. Or maybe to be like, it seems like there's not one answer for this, not like it's a statistical based response.
Yeah.
So, oh, okay, maybe let me jot this down. Then you're like, oh, so then you go through and you read through and then you're like, okay, maybe let me categorize. Let me try and bucket and say, okay, it seems like this is what the answer is for this period. Then there's this period, and then there's a gap somewhere where maybe there's not data that was well recorded, things like that. I feel like with a chatbot, because it wants to give you a response, part of the expectation from it when you type in a question is that if it doesn't give you a response, you'll go away with a negative experience.
Yeah.
So it gives you a response. Now, sure, at the bottom there, it will write a paragraph of like, oh, okay, this is basic information that I have. Hi, you might need to blah. Nobody wants to read that shit. It's like, oh, okay, let me just take that. But then now my worry is then people are publishing papers off of that or publishing articles, information, and then it's half-baked information.
Yeah.
And then now that's what we just keep repeating, and then like
that becomes now
the
truth.
fact. Yes. And then down there someone will be like, no, actually that's not true. But it's like, no, but this is what's been said because this person quoted this person who quoted this person. But person number one got it from a chatbot, right? So I feel like there's parts where like we're missing critical thinking, which worries me. So even when the example of like education, yes, so maybe it means that we look at how, for example, we test or how you like, what's the point of a thesis? If a bot can do most of the work for you, then you put it into another bot that is like, okay, now we are the ones that this bot makes it seem human, and then this other bot does for you to check to make sure you're not, you can't plagiarize more than whatever percentage it is. Then it's like, then are you truly learning? So then maybe we look at what's the point of doing certain things. Let's relook at that. Will we relook at that now, us who've come from Kenyan education system?
Yeah.
The stuff we were taught probably hasn't changed until now. Now, do you think it will change because of this? No. So then we're churning out people who is just, I have the degree, I have the paper. Do I have the no? I don't know.
So to come back to that part about education, I had this chat with a friend of ours who's doing her master's right now, and she talked about having used ChatGPT a lot for some of the research work she was doing. And it sort of came out that universities have started rethinking how to approach how people do assignments and even their thesis, to a point where she told me her classwork now is not just submitting a paper. The classwork and the assignment involves you doing a whole presentation, probably not even looking at your paper because it has to come from your own understanding and thinking. It's not just submitting. So I think universities have to catch up with this at some point.
Where is this university? Is it in
the
a Western
UK.
country?
In UK, okay. Yeah. It's our friend. She'll probably watch this. But we had that chat, when was this? Last weekend. The other weekend.
Yeah.
So I think universities, because critical thinking is very important for the academics, so the universities have to be a step ahead to know the tools exist, but now how do we make sure that people are actually still utilizing that skill that they have?
Yeah.
So over and above like text-based results, there's so much more, and this is what I was going to mention about the tools that I actively used within AI is for video editing. So when we do our podcast here, we have like 3 cameras. And when we want to put out a reel or a TikTok, the size of the cameras, the size of the image is 16:9, so it's landscape.
Yeah.
And most of social media has to be portrait.
Yeah.
So I use, interesting as it is, CapCut, which is by TikTok, but CapCut have embedded AI tools within their own
platforms.
app. So, for example, they have motion recognition. So right now you're talking, the cameras are changing, but I can go to CapCut and tell it, the AI app, tell it, point at Jackie's face and only focus on her. So depending on however our cameras change right now, it will be able to focus on you and give me that image.
Yeah.
Another thing they have is also voice recognition. So other than text, you have voice recognition. And we can edit this whole video with just voices, or like I can decide if Jackie says the word whatever, I just cut out that bit, and it's so efficient.
It's unbelievable.
It's
even
so
if you say
efficient.
a lot,
Yes,
you can
it gives
take
you
out
that
the
part.
every time you say it'll remove that. Or if you say Trump a lot, Trump,
Please cut that
it'll
out.
remove all that. You know?
I heard about Adobe. We had this conversation with friends of mine a while ago about also image editing, where he went out and took, I think he was using, I don't know whether it was Adobe product, Illustrator, I don't know whether it was Photoshop or... Which one does a lot of image editing?
It's
Photoshop.
Lightroom.
Yes.
Yes.
Adobe Lightroom,
The one that's pushing now. I know, at least, and they're doing a lot of ads for
Photoshop
it. Right
is also Adobe, no?
Yes,
it
it's
is.
also Adobe. It's
But this one, I
within the
guess, is within your... It's a lot of within your album, so you don't have to export it into Photoshop or... anyway, they're kind of making it more integrated and easier for anyone.
Yeah.
Versus... and Photoshop was very creative industry.
Yes, it was. And I think what they've done now is try all these tools that we've been using. They've tried to embed a lot of AI into them. And to me, that's fantastic. Because, for example, the guy was showing us a picture He's a professional photographer, and he had this image of a beautiful place that had a tower, and then by mistake he actually cut off the top, and he was like, this photo is so good but it's missing the top part, which is like the pinnacle. And he just asked Lightroom complete the image, and it just went up, put the tower, because already that image exists somewhere else. So it's able to search within its own database or something and just complete that image. So I
feel like I
do see
I should become a
benefits
Google
to it.
influencer. Google products already did this, but a whole other story.
Yes, probably they did, but they didn't push it out. Or professionals don't use the tools as much
They
as
don't
Adobe.
use Pixel. You people need to talk to create it. You were showing me how, oh my God, now I can just, if I took someone, they can just remove them from the picture. I'm like, Pixel has been doing that.
Yes.
But this is the new
Yeah.
and the new iPhone push, but let me not argue the iPhone users here. Carry on.
Yeah. So there's the visual bits, there's the in terms of video and images. Another thing that I discovered that I was like, God, thank God this thing exists, is because sometimes I'm doing a lot of technical work, so I have to do a lot of combination of research materials because I'm going back into work and I have to read a lot. Then I discovered this thing called Notebook LLM. It's by Google. It's also an AI tool. So what you do is you put all your content. So even for students are using it a lot. If you're studying, you put all your material, whether PDF, whether it's links, you put all this stuff, and then you tell it to generate for you a podcast. My God, it is fantastic. Like you have actual people going back and forth, discussing your notes in podcast style, and they have such natural language.
I saw that, yeah.
You saw that, yeah?
That would be so
scary.
amazing. But I think it's also amazing if you think about education system has so much been focused on somebody's in front of a classroom, you have a textbook.
Yes.
So you read, and then, or they write on the board, you read what's on the board, write notes. It's very one format and works for somebody who can absorb information that way. If you're somebody maybe who's dyslexic or things like that, the existing education system, you just fall off the wayside.
Yeah.
People assume, oh, you're not smart, but it's like, no, maybe I can consume better listening versus reading.
Yeah.
Right? Like just things like that just didn't have a space in this world for a lot of people. I think I see how that's going to be really amazing because it levels the playing ground for everyone.
Yeah.
Right?
Everybody can consume.
Yes, in a way that because we are all built differently.
Yeah.
Right? So in a way that your brain or whatever it is processes it, you can find a medium that speaks to you that way, which I think is really dope.
Yeah, there's to me there's a lot of benefits for not necessarily regurgitating information that other people have made fact, but tools that actually make it easy for you to
Digest
do your
information.
daily job or to work, or to be more efficient, I think for me, if I was asked personally, AI is going to be a life changer.
Even from the point of view of entertainment, what
Yeah.
you think is entertainment on TikTok and on Instagram, these are all just generated notes by ChatGPT. 100%. There's a guy who does news.
Yeah.
He tells me what are the most Googled things today. He'll ask ChatGPT this form of questions based on what's happening today. And then he'll get the most interesting ones. Stand in front of Mike, say the news. You might know the guy. I don't want to say his name. But this is what he does. So he comes up and then regurgitates all this news. And he's the most popular guy today. This is all just generated by Chat. I won't lie to you. I love music.
Yeah.
I know music.
Yeah.
But there's at least 2 of my mixes that are brand new. They've got a lot of new music that have been generated by AI.
To leverage on what you've just spoken
That's
about.
crazy.
What do you think is the future now, for example? So, because let's say in entertainment, regular work, what does the future of work look like then?
I think it's great. I think we just adjust. It's the same way the horses saw cars come into the frame.
The horses had no clue. The horses were like,
these things,
the horses were
these
like,
things are gonna
finally,
take our jobs.
these heavy people who are just breaking my back, get into the damn car.
You adjust and you
The horses are like, thank God.
Yeah.
I think
Now I can be a show pony. I just trot one.
It's also the same way that computers entered the workforce, you know. Before, a lot of things were manual. We were using typewriters. But there was also a lot of friction because people were saying, okay, jobs will be gone. And probably jobs went. But I think also it created other jobs within the framework that existed for computers. So I do see also a lot of professions coming up. And one thing I've heard about is security will be a big seller. People who go into cybersecurity, because right now AI tools can do so much more We'll
go into that. We'll go into the ethics.
yes.
now even romance scams. Oh man.
Oh yeah, you're out here chatting with a bot.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But did you see?
Wait, is that is a job opportunity?
That, I'm telling you. Because it's texting how are you this morning? Hi. It's been about 3 years we're talking to each other. Not one penny dropped into my
account.
Into my account.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
How do you feel about the future of like even the entertainment industry? Like for you, I guess in your case specifically.
you know that's the one thing that I have a lot of faith in. When it comes to entertaining people, feeling is something that a computer will never be able to replicate. Feeling. There's that moment where this feels like the right thing to do. That computer can't do that. So when it feels like, oh, this is the perfect place to slow it down and just bring people back to old school. You know, a computer, no matter how good you do it, there's this one AI tool I've forgotten. It's called DJ. I think it's DJ AI or something like that.
Is it the one that's there's a new one on Spotify? I have people talking about it.
Where it generates it like takes people in a room. Let's say 100 people. Get those 100 people. Tick what they are interested in. I'm a big Katy Perry fan, Tupac, 50 Cent. I'd like to hear this tonight. Everyone does the same thing. It will make an average satisfaction rate of at least 75%. That is a lot of people who are happy in one room. But the only thing is that it can't mix the music. It doesn't know when to play it. So that's the only thing that will... But as far as playing songs after each other, it makes a pretty good
over
playlist.
time, can you imagine if you feed a model? Because part of these things, how they learn is models, right? So if I take mixes from each DJ, like let's just say here, there's probably 200 DJs, and I take just one mix of each person, right? And I feed it to the model. And it kind of understands, oh, okay, it seems like they switch this and they only play this first part is where the hype is at. Then I switch, right? Then those are things the model can learn, right? But one thing you're right about is the emotional part, where, for example, you've entered a club, or this happened to us in, I can't remember where. No, maybe, some very white country. Whiter than this.
I know where this was. It was in Greece. We were in Greece.
Yeah. So where we walk in and then the DJ says, black chicks. Plays Kendrick, right? 100%. There's things like that you wouldn't recognize. And it's like, if you're not feeling the place, but it's like, oh, this person has seen us. There's something about, let's spend 20 minutes here and you spend your money there, right? But there's things like that you're right, that you're saying that I guess, I also look at it as you're saying, like, I mean, as you both said, things have come. Technology has come in many ways,
in many forms.
But so I think also with AI coming in, yes, there's jobs that the models, AI, different systems can do faster, easier. But then, to me, how I see that is then the value of human intelligence elevates, right? Yes. There's now a price. There's a price value to human intelligence when it comes into there's things that require kind of knowing people, right? That requires knowing emotions, knowing things. There's not maybe there's a model that will come that will blow our heads out of the water, but like until then I'm just like my faith is that human element will have a higher price tag to it and a bigger value to it. which is where I worry about the loss of critical thinking and problem solving, because then that becomes even more valuable, right? So I think about my career start was building a product in a market that never had that kind of product, and you didn't have anything to use to build the product. So specifically it was Google Maps. We didn't have a place to go and say, hey, give us all the data.
Yeah.
Here, before maps came along, trains had timetables, buses have routes, they're all timed. The buses have GPS chips, you know where each bus is at what time, there's traffic, there's all this. All data is sitting somewhere in digital format. So when you come along, and it was being displayed on maybe the app, so the train guys had their own app, bus had their own app, etc. So you come along with your platform and it's like, oh, then just give me all this, the feed that you have, I'll just plug that feed into my system. Then you come to markets like Kenya, where does anyone have the routes or no? We just know them. Does anyone know what time is a bus coming? Yeah, a bus will show up. Just stand on the road. Yeah. A bus will show up. Do trains have time? Not really. That's just the way it is. And even just road information, there's no way you can go get in digital format, ironically. So you're having to build things from nothing. But it required them to ask us, like for us when we were hired, to be like, how do we do this thing?
Yeah.
And to come up with ways of how do you do this thing? Because it's a market where there's nothing you just plug into. Oh, there's this platform.
You're building it from zero.
Yeah. Yes, a thing can't just come and say, oh, okay, we'll just build from, but from what?
Yeah.
Right? Even just information knowing like, oh, here, this is a funny one. We're mapping schools. And we had to teach the model on satellite imagery. Schools in Africa have a specific look, especially in Kenya, have a specific look. From satellite imagery from above, there will be an empty field, classrooms that are built in a specific way, and every school has a flag.
Yes.
And that's where assembly is at. So from above, every fucking school in Kenya looks the same. So it was us who were like, oh, actually, you know what? There's a pattern here.
Yeah.
This is a school.
Yeah.
You can safely say, at least a public school, you will know each and every public school has a specific format. Model couldn't figure that out.
Yeah.
It has to be human beings being like,
be,
and a human being who's local there, who knows, actually, every school you went to, this is the format that it looks like. So there's things like that human knowledge, and maybe especially in markets like ours that are not very structured, that its local knowledge is very pertinent. So I think even if I think about AI in African markets, people worrying and things like that, I'm just like, I think that's the market where, if anything, your value is going to be so much higher.
And it will be sought after. Very highly.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it's a local knowledge that maybe this is I've always said it's weird how Africans, we don't document stuff. We're just out here walking around with knowledge. Maybe this is where it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
Because these models have nowhere to learn from. It's all sitting in our heads.
That's true. Can I be the
bearer of bad news?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I said sometimes we should. There are some professions where I need the truth. And unfortunately, the scary part is that some people are not qualified. Well, they are qualified to do their job, but they will sort the knowledge of a chat GPT. I've seen doctors Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you saw doctors Google.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Actually.
And so that could be a really dangerous thing.
I put in my symptoms in chat GPT. And it had said, narrow it down to either it's your liver or it's your gout. But the liver, it couldn't specify what it's for the hepatitis. It just said you'd be high in something called bilirubin. But it's indication of there's an inflammation happening in your liver. And it said, go see a doctor. I put it in Google search too. Most of the results, how Google searches. It's all cancer. It's doom and gloom. But so doctors, when they search, I see them going to specific medical websites. So they'll only reference certain medical websites. Which...
Yeah. To me, it's like a book.
Yeah.
There is...
they don't know everything as well.
Yeah. So when they're going to those portals or when they do the research, whenever they do a Google search, there are those medical journals that are actually existing in certain hospitals or portals that are public that can be accessed by anyone.
Yeah.
So I don't see anything wrong. Because imagine back in the days, doctors used to actually open books. And
that's
type
true.
books. Yeah.
Come to think of that.
Yeah,
that
they
is
did.
true.
Yeah. So it's just moved online.
Yeah.
Now it's just more
I
indexed.
used to, when I first saw it happen, I started panicking. I said, yo, are you using Google to see what, And I thought to myself that, look, he's not a machine. He's not going to cram yes, he got his degree.
Yeah.
But he's not expected to remember every single sickness that comes through the door.
Yeah.
Especially the way there are billions of them.
Yeah, and then think about it this way. Here, if you walk in with a tropical disease, most of these doctors have not worked in an African country.
Yeah.
So if you walk in with
Typhoid.
even malaria, they'll be like, what?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, they'll probably not even start thinking it's malaria. They'll try to treat you for something else completely.
Which is this is a very funny thing. When you're feeling unwell, it's interesting. It's fascinating to me. First of all, anyway, fine. How I observe how they go through the order of elimination. And it's so interesting how when in Kenya, if I go in and I'm well and I'm unwell, it starts with malaria. Oh, not malaria. Okay. Then now go to the hospital. And now I think this is the part I love about the not healthcare, but how I guess they are trying to disseminate things like, because I never used to like how in Kenya we are all self-diagnosing. So you'll just go and ask for Fancida because you think, I feel this way, I think it's malaria. So I'll just go buy malaria meds over the counter. And I think the last time I was unwell in Kenya and I went in, they were like, even if you think it's malaria, they had to do like a test at the pharmacy, which I was like, oh, this is really nice to see. And then they're like, oh, no, it's not really malaria. So we have to send you to the doctor because we don't think it's malaria. And if you're feeling this way, it could be something worse. So they had to send me to the doctor. But so it's very interesting to see how what they think of first there versus here what they look at first is very fascinating.
Very different.
It tells you what is more localized.
What's the first thing they ask? What was she trying to eliminate, this doctor?
Let me see. Oh, first they ask you because they'd gone in with like stomach bug. So I gave her the context. Then, so she was like, oh, okay. So is it like, what did you eat? Blah, blah, blah. Then I told her, no, but my eyes are yellowish. So then she's like, oh, is it? Then she came close. She's like, okay. Then now she changed her questions. Like, have you eaten anything unwashed or anything raw in the last blah, blah, blah? Then because she knew it was definitely something to do with the liver.
With the liver,
And then, in Kenya, I feel like it was always malaria first or
typhoid.
Or are you pregnant? Like, when was your last period?
Oh, yeah, there's always that one. When was your last period?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anyway, we were talking about, future of work. No, and also, okay, we touched on cybersecurity. Did you finish your point?
Which one? I made a few points.
Oh, okay. No, you're talking about the doctors, like Googling or going on. Okay, all right.
Going on ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah. Or you're talking about their jobs that you would like for there to be
accurate.
Fact should be fact.
Yeah,
there should not be any
no gray area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I hope that means that the models will be. I guess again, these models work on the more information people ask, but then also works on them vetting a lot of what their models are referencing. And then that brings the conversation of bias.
Yeah.
Because now here is me back to saying maybe us not documenting is great because all information is is in our heads, but also this is the undoing.
Yeah.
Because they don't have much to reference when it comes to our regions.
Yeah. So their biases.
A lot of what they'll say is what they're given. And maybe a lot of what they're given is not bias. So the information about us is not bias, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because as it is, like all these models depend on a lot of information. And then from that information, they learn. So if they're fed biased information or information that is incorrect, it will end up also giving results that are incorrect.
Yes.
Um,
But then we don't know it's incorrect because we've learned to trust this thing.
Yes.
Because it's given you
yes, it's given you something before that was correct.
that
for
was
something-
correct.
yeah.
Yes.
Who's
Actually,
regulating anyway?
does
Who's-
anyone do this? Because you know what I do now? Now I don't do it as much, but I used to always have the two major ones
ChatGPT and Gemini.
and Gemini.
Yeah.
So I'll always feed them the same information
Yeah.
and compare the output.
Yeah.
Then over time, you're like, "Ah, okay, they are roughly similar
Mm-hmm.
outputs. Or there are some things I need to check now. But there are some things Gemini will never give me responses to.
Yeah.
So one day we'll talk about this, but I am going into the alcohol business. There are things it won't give me responses because it thinks I'm trying to brew alcohol at home. So it will be like, you should not brew alcohol at home. Then I'll be like, I'm not brewing at home.
Yeah.
I am opening up a distillery.
Yeah.
Can you blah, 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 blah. It will be like, you have to go through the government, blah, 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 blah.
I'll give
Then
you another
ChatGPT
AI.
will be out here
There's
just telling
some
me.
that can get past that sort of. There's some AIs that are dark web AIs that will give you all
Oh,
the
dark
answers.
web.
that-
Dark web.
Yeah.
But you see, ChatGPT gives me answers, but Gemini won't give me answers. So there's it has certain, maybe it's also Google's ethics stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming maybe if I ask it how to make a cigar, maybe it will refuse to tell me because if it's maybe there's just things it doesn't touch on because it's assumed that is not.
It's also things about it depends model by model, things about politics, religion. There is a lot of how do you call it, they're sort of trained not to give out a lot of that, so that not to influence a lot of biases. So there are companies that specifically try to avoid such topics. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I found interesting because if I'm to ask, how do you make gin? That's very simple. You get a base alcohol,
Yeah.
you add juniper berries, blah, 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 blah. Here are the different types of gins.
Yeah.
It would not give me that.
It doesn't.
No. Because it'll be like, you should not brew alcohol. I'm like, I'm not brewing gin at home. I'm just asking you.
Even if I'm brewing at home,
Why
what's
is
the
your
problem?
business?
What's the
Mind your own.
problem? Because they are also, well, I used to try brew my own beer at home.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a problem. It's
Which
not
actually
against the
here,
law.
it's a certain amount you're allowed to
Yes,
do at home,
yes,
etc.
yeah.
So, but I don't know why it would. I'll try again recently.
Yeah.
But at some point I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I just ChatGPT would give me the answers. But I used to compare. Then over time you're like, it's basically the same. So I stopped comparing.
Yeah.
You just use the one you prefer in terms of the language or how it structures or how whatever. But then who asked about who manages or who regulates?
Who is regulating?
No,
Yeah.
they're self-regulating. This is the
You
thing.
see, that's the thing.
They're
Now we get into
self-regulating.
tricky ground where there's
Yeah.
no one who's actually telling me that no, this is not right, or so there's no one to go back to and ask, why did you tell me this? This is why I did this. So there's no one to fact check the people. But then again,
It's all based on the goodness of the entity, right? So, for example, Google has published AI principles to try and say, as we are building our models, here are the principles we will follow, right? But it's up to themselves to make sure they are following their own principles.
Google being a profit-making company, they could make facts that put them in a better light than others. If I ask her, has Google cut any corners while building its money? While making its money, it probably won't give me to put Google in a bad look because it's
It
made
owns
by
it.
them.
Yeah.
You know.
It's,
So-
yeah.
So this is another part another job that's actually coming up.
Yeah.
I know people who've moved out of their mainstream jobs within tech companies to start movements around AI ethics.
Yeah.
So there are companies actually that are going to come up and now critically look at how AI is being used, if there's any misinformation being passed, biases, what are the principles. So that's another job line that's actually coming up
Yeah.
on AI ethics and
Yeah.
research around that.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
trying to also eliminate as much bias as possible. So making sure that they're pushing for, hey, when you're looking for this kind of data, you must have X sources or whatever it is, and pushing for, or do you need more moderators or whatever it is, certain regions, to make sure that it doesn't output things that are biased towards a specific race or specific gender or whatever it is, right? So there's companies, but then again, even if just because I have set up a company that is doing all this research, etc., who enforces it?
So this is what I see happening. My future view of it is when you have a lot of companies that are now talking about AI ethics, you will have a lot of now policies being lobbied into governments to make sure that companies that are working on AI and AI models and all that follow certain principles. And if they're not meeting that, they can be held accountable. So, but I think the regulations have not been they're not getting enforced yet because probably nothing exists within the government policies. Like
this is one area where government is far behind. And it's like, and the thing is, making leaps, and the progress is leaps and bounds.
It is so quick.
So it's just like, by the time government is like, oh, ChatGPT, it's like, sir, that was 5 years ago.
I always refer to that video where Mark Zuckerberg the TikTok guy is being asked questions.
Oh, by the...
So where are you from in China? No, I'm from Singapore.
But where in China?
Where in China are you from? Singapore.
But have you seen, like, for example, I think Zuckerberg, when he was called by the US,
yes, I've seen that one as well.
Like the questions they're drilling, and you can see they actually don't understand how.
They don't know.
Yes,
mind you, we're now in AI. Even forget AI.
They're talking about social media.
Just social media.
Yeah.
It's like you're basically getting it.
Yes.
You're just barely getting it.
Do you know what I don't understand? For people who've got the finances of countries, they've got enough money to hire people who know enough to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Those people are the ones who should be sitting there.
Because
not these old men who've just gotten it. They've let go of that flip phone, the Motorola. I had to let go of it because my son showed me an email on his phone and I had to get that. I was like, wow, this is a game changer.
Yeah.
And probably they downloaded Facebook
yesterday.
I don't understand how it works.
Only to discover they can make a call on it as well. What?
Imagine. And they're the ones who are being caught with their nudes out here because they don't know how to secure their damn phones.
Now they've got like...
They thought they were DMing someone, but they posted on
I've got an uncle, he thinks he's the coolest thing in the planet because he's got a Facebook page. Only to discover he's got like 300 because every time he tries to log in...
He creates a new one. Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Excellent. I love it. I love it. God bless.
Yeah. No, this is one area that's the part that concerns me. Security, cyber security in general. Because everything we've mentioned about the efficiency that AI has brought to whether it's your work, etc., is the same thing as Kama is saying.
Yeah.
Oh, so efficient. Now I don't have to hire people to make calls to scam. No. I just have a bot that I'm like, I feed, it just scans the internet, picks numbers, calls.
Yeah.
And tells you, I don't know, that phone call you always get in terms of like, this is the Swiss police.
Yeah.
You have blah, 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 blah. It's not some guy sitting there. It's just now they don't have to hire an execution.
They don't even have to
talk.
talk.
So scammers are also out here, and people who are like, people who are out for nefarious reasons. They're like, this is so much more efficient.
Everybody's having a good day with AI, from scammers,
I tell you,
thieves, everyone.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But then now, it really worries me, that part in terms of how far behind.
I think,
and hopefully governments realize, and they're like, you know what? Instead of us upskilling ourselves, let's just hire people who are in this, who know it from now, and start understanding this thing and trying to build in. You'd rather be strict and be like, oh, no, we're going to get this, let's understand it, versus now it's just, you'd
create entire divisions, like, the way they've got their science division. Make a cyber division or something like that. That would also help the old heads understand, the people who don't who deal in country business to deal with country business, and the people who deal with cyber business to deal with cyber business.
Yeah.
You know, that way you don't have some old man asking. So if I go and sit here and move to there, does the phone know I've moved from here to there?
there.
That's got nothing to
Yeah.
do with what we
Yeah.
are talking about.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, but
There's a lot of I do see within like the EU Parliament, the EU regulators, like even the cases that they bring against these big companies, like it takes years and years to sort of even get any resolution.
Movement, yeah.
To even ask
But
the
they
right
stick with it.
questions.
At least they're
Yeah.
suing. I think EU is the
Yeah.
only one out here that's
Yeah.
keeping this big tech in check.
Yeah.
Like that every other day. So they're paying fines.
Yeah.
Right. But then at least there's someone who's like, no, staying with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And also making changes that are impactful. For example, the introduction of GDPR
Yeah. Oh,
in
man.
16
Yeah.
or was it? It's a big changer
Yeah.
for how all companies or even how your website runs and how
they
your
collect
cookies
data.
collect.
Yeah. And one thing I loved is when they implemented GDPR,
Yeah.
it was not, it's implemented now, it's up to the consumer. No.
Yeah.
Companies required you need to let these people know they are on your mailing list.
Yeah.
You have their data.
You're tracking them.
Then they have to opt back in.
Yeah.
I was just like, the number of things was just like, huh? The number of emails you're getting because now these companies are required
Yeah.
to tell you. I was just like,
Yeah.
brilliant.
And even the cookies thing, like when you open any website within Europe, like you get that
annoying,
pop up
but
for cookies. It's so annoying because some you
hang in
can't
there.
reject.
You know?
I'm rejecting.
You have
all
to
cookies.
go in and then reject each one.
And
You
then
have to-
accept, and then but others when you reject, then they force you to buy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
But again,
I think that should not be legal.
yeah, where if you reject the cookies, you have
they
you get a
force you
paywall. Yeah.
That should not be legal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But is there anything that excites you about AI specifically for our continent? Home continent
For our home
or
continent.
home countries?
Anything that excites I think it's for me, I do believe it will come especially on efficiency. Because I think efficiency can get us much further out for a normal user, that is. Maybe for corporates, enterprise, and government, probably if they're...
That was for government.
Yeah, maybe also tools that we use from day to day, maybe made by companies or enterprises. I want a lot of efficiency within day to day. But to be honest, let me tell you, like there are things I look at. For example, when I look at mobile money and also how we do certain payments, we are way ahead. Our ecosystem for mobile money payments is way ahead. And I can see like we can even go much further. I don't know. Yeah, I think there's such big room. And maybe let me mention something here that I see is probably going to take away from our market. Do you know Kenya was one country that was highlighted on that has people who write theses and who do degrees for other people in Europe?
Come on, Kenya.
They were highlighted as the top country. They were writing the best.
They write good papers.
Good papers, good thesis. Probably somebody in Nakuru somewhere is seated writing an MIT paper.
We always say degree ni harambe.
Yes.
Which means degree is a communal effort.
Yes. But like we have such beautiful brains. And I think because we had a lot of young people who were getting these jobs for writing papers for folks in Europe or the US, with coming in of AI and all this ChatGPT, I think that market has shrinked.
Again, maybe they'll come at a premium.
Probably, I don't know. Yes, maybe, but I
Hopefully
know for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
That market has shrinked for for writers in Kenya. Yeah. So I've thought about that. Yeah.
DJ, anything you're excited for AI in your home countries?
In my home country?
Yeah. Or for
Ireland or
Africa in
Zim?
general. Zim, Africa.
Look, it's going to be interesting what happens anyway. The way I see it is no going back.
Yeah, we can't
this
undo
can
this.
is already, this tire is already rolling down there.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be interesting what it brings. Hopefully, it can be used for good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I hope. Yeah.
I'm excited for healthcare and what AI can do in the healthcare space. Because I do think, at least in Kenya, like, God, our medical systems are something else. So if AI can be able to come in or be integrated into systems where maybe there's so like for example, like in the area I when I go home where my mom is based, there's not that many hospitals, right? And then there's a lot of clinics, but then now how many doctors are there? None. It's a clinical officer. Then maybe there's only one hospital that has a doctor, but then so if you need something specific, you have to travel 3 hours to see a specialist. And so maybe if there's in terms of like just maybe diagnosis, right? Because there's a big issue with being misdiagnosed. So if that can make a difference or drastically bring down the cost of healthcare drastically, if there's like I'm hoping that does something in that space. I'm hoping it does a lot for agriculture, especially given how I talked to my mom yesterday. She's just like, it's cold. Like they're wearing our part of the country has never cold. But my mom is like, no, we are wearing like a sweater. It's clearly climate change is doing a number. So hopefully AI helps in terms of, maybe better predictability when it comes to, because we still have a lot of smallholder farming, but then that's what's feeding most of the country, right? So hopefully, and I always think down the line in the future, not in the future, no, actually, yeah, in the future, people always have to eat. And as the world grows, etc., we have a lot of land.
Yeah.
I think we will play a huge role in food. So being able to better manage, predict food production, maximizing food production, if that plays a role, absolutely love that.
I know companies that are actually doing that, that are doing satellite modeling for learning patterns for weather and agricultural profitable land.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that has started, so it
It's
will be
fun
good
fact.
to see. Yeah.
How long have I been out of school? 18. That was my undergrad. Yeah, we were doing ML and AI part of, because I studied satellites and geographic information systems. We were doing that, but we were way ahead of what
The systems
governments could do.
Yeah.
But then again, unfortunately, a lot of things, especially for smallholder farmers, still goes through. There's still a role that government plays. So if it's able to incorporate this information that they're getting, there's so many brilliant researchers who are doing this work.
Yeah.
So if I was doing this in my undergrad, a lot of my peers did higher degrees, are lecturers in universities, are publishing papers. But then we still have old guards who are there making dumbass policies. So if the research can get to the ground,
Yeah. Game changer.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
But we are here. But yeah,
We're here
hopefully
now.
you're all excited for
Tell us about.
I'm sure there's a lot we missed. But tell us your excitement, your fears.
Your fears, or where you're using your AI tools on your day to day.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good to know.
Asanteni sana. Tuonane kwa
Kipindi kijacho.
See you on the next one. It's easy to think in Swahili, but then when you speak it, it's like your brain starts doubting yourself. You're like,
Yeah, and also because you're so used to speaking Sheng, it almost feels like you're doing something wrong with the Swahili word.
Next intro, do in Sheng.
Okay. Good.